makeup is not created equal, so here with a roundup of products you're using wrong and tips to use them right is Shobana Lakkavally. Looking so good. I love the green. It's so nice to have you back. So why should we really be thinking about the ways that we're using our makeup?
Listen, if you love how you're doing your face, power to you. But I find that there's so much stuff on social media, hacks, trends, showing us how to use everything on everything, right? It gets overwhelming, and I just don't want people to start quiet quitting makeup.
Right? Because they're confused.
Because they're confused. I'm going to share a few tips so you know what to look out for, regardless of what the products say, regardless of what social media says.
Okay, I love that. You're going to teach us the right way to use these products. We're going to start with contour and bronzer, right?
Yes.
So shall we bring Vanessa in? Come on in, Vanessa. Our model. Have a seat. So what do we need to know?
Okay, so with everything that we're doing today, I'm going to ask you to think about purpose, placement, and color. Whenever you use a new product, that's what you're thinking about, okay?
Okay.
So when you're doing contour, the purpose of it is to really just chisel our face, make our, our facial structure, our bones pop a little bit more.
Okay.
Whereas when you're using bronzer, it's just meant to add color to your face. Okay. If you're a lighter skin tone, if you're darker skin tone, you may not get a sun-kissed, like I don't get sun-kissed.
Right.
So it just adds warmth. So my foundation sometimes can be very flat. Yeah. It adds color to my face, and I love it.
That's fair.
So when you're using contour, I have these Milk Sculpt sticks, which are amazing. The placement matters. You're going to use the placement of the contour along the hairline, right? Under the cheekbone, along the jawline. Then you might kind of go down the nose, here in the Cupid's bow. That is the placement that you're looking for when it comes to contour, okay?
Okay. Now, bronzer.
Bronzer. Rather than the hairline, I'm actually going to apply it on the forehead, along the top of the cheekbone, and along the top of the jawline, kind of where the sun usually will touch. Do you guys see the difference?
Yes.
It's a huge difference in placement, right?
Absolutely.
And the other thing that you guys want to remember is the color, right?
Yes.
So when you're using contours, colors are going to be like the color of shadows.
Yes.
They're going to be like these grayer, kind of muted colors.
Yeah. So it's nice that you can see there's like deep ones and lighter ones and in between.
Exactly. And these are the Milk Sculpt sticks, which are fantastic. They're right on in terms of color. Yeah. And you'll notice contour is always matte. On the other hand, on the other hand, you have bronzers. Yeah. And bronzers are like bubbly. They're oranges, they're reds. They give you that warmth. Yeah. They can be matte, right? But plot twist, they can also be shimmery and metallic and glowy. This is not what you want in your contour product. Contours always have to be matte.
Okay, very nice. So can they be interchangeable?
You know what? This is an excellent question, and it really depends on the product that you're using. So there are a few products, like the NARS, Laguna, and Casino bronzers, that are this perfect neutral color that you can interchange, okay? But there's few in this gray zone. So if you're not sure, just use either a contour or a bronzing product.
All right, let's move on to concealer versus color corrector. Yes. These are two different things. Well, you tell me. Is there a difference between the two?
Yes, there is. So that's a really great question. Again, let's think about the purpose. So the purpose of concealer is to cover some of the imperfections on our face, right? Usually they're flesh tone. Yeah. Now, what if your concealer, like we have those like harsh blemishes, under eye circles, maybe a darker chin, and your concealer doesn't work? Yeah. It needs some help. Yeah. Enter color correctors, your concealer's best friend, okay? And what you want to do is just apply a little bit of that color corrector on top of, just say, the blemish. She doesn't have many blemishes, so I'm just going to apply it right here. You let it set. You can see that the color still shines through a little bit, and then you go on top with her concealer. Okay. Okay? And again, you just blend that in. And what you want to also be aware of, and what can get really confusing, is the actual colors that you're using.
Do me a favor and just put them in that jar for me. Okay. So see all the different colors you've got. You've got the rainbow there. Yes. You've kind of got to think about what color you are trying to combat. Are you looking at the color of your skin, or are you looking at the color of your blemish?
I love this, Tracy. You're good. So if your face...
I don't know.
So if you're lighter skin, you might have rosacea that's red. You might have pimples that are red. You're going to counteract it with the green. Because on the color wheel, if you're going to get all scientific, it's the opposite color of red, so it cancels it out. It neutralizes the harshness of that red color, making it easier to conceal. Okay. If you're medium to dark skin tone, you might focus on using peaches and yellows, okay, to counteract that darkness of the browns. If you are a darker to black skin tone, that's when you're going to start using things like oranges on your face to counteract.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about powder. So there's a difference between setting powder and finishing powder.
Yes.
How should we be using those?
Okay, so you can have a great makeup routine, and if you're using the wrong powder, it's going to kill your makeup, okay?
Right.
So a setting powder, it just locks your foundation, your makeup in place. It absorbs all the oil that your skin doesn't. So for example, I do heavy coverage under my eyes. I use a setting powder to make sure it stays so it doesn't crease.
Okay. All right.
And that is the role of a setting powder versus the purpose of a finishing powder. It smooths and it blurs the texture of your face.
Right.
It doesn't absorb oil.
Yeah.
So very different purposes.
Yeah.
And placement, you can apply both setting powder and finishing powder anywhere on the face.
Right.
But you will notice that the actual texture of both are very different. So this is actually the Laura Mercier setting powder. It is absolutely one of the best. And you can kind of see that it has talc in it, right? So it's more powdery and it's a little bit thicker. You would definitely want to use, I like using something that has a little bit of color in it to brighten up the face and make it look not gray. If you use something white, you can absolutely look gray. Then I have the It Cosmetics finishing powder here, which smooths and blurs. And if I put this onto the palm, or not the palm, on the back of my hand, you guys can actually see that
it's a different texture.
It's a different texture. It's so smooth, and it actually blurs my hand.
It's a great lesson for all of us because everything doesn't do everything.
Yes,
so Shobana, thank you so much for that. And thank you for being our mom.